Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Akira and this is my corner, and if you're not, then you actually know that this is not technically my corner. So today I am going to be doing another story time. If you haven't watched my previous story time, I will link that video down below so that you can watch it. But just for a quick summary of the way that my story times work, I essentially sit on my bed in my pajamas. Today I'm using a Smurfs pajamas and it says I heart nerds. It's totally cute, I know. I know that people usually have like funny story time videos, and I think when I do like funny story time videos I'll bring in my friends, but I think with most of these alone story time videos I want to make it something that was actually meaningful, that has happened to me, and it was something that made me learn a lesson in life or something like that, and something for you guys to know just a little bit more about me. So it's the kind of topics that I feel like I need to speak about, and I feel like I have this platform to talk, so why should I not talk about it? For the story time today, I'm going to be speaking about, I'm sure you can tell by the title, interracial relationships. I know that in South Africa everyone kind of thinks that, oh, we're this rainbow nation and there's this fast that it's actually so acceptable to be in an interracial relationship, but it's actually really not the case. And I'm just gonna quickly tell you guys a story about, you know, my first ever interracial relationship. And before I get into it, also please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. It'll be on either side down here. Either way, click subscribe so that you can see the rest of my videos. And yeah, let me just get straight into it. This story starts close to where my last story time ended, where I was essentially in my first year, and coming out of matric, I had quite low self-esteem, I would say. I essentially met this guy on campus. All my friends studied law, and I essentially met this guy through my friends, and I was like, okay, this guy's pretty cute, and I basically took the assumption that he would never actually be interested in me. And it wasn't like about race or anything, it was just that he was actually good looking. Lo and behold, this guy was actually interested in me. Let me give him a name. Okay, so the guy's name is John. I actually didn't say this. So John is a white guy. He's actually an Afrikaans white guy. So just so you know, Indian girl and Afrikaans white guy. John started speaking to me and he's interested in me, and for the most part I was like a bit wary because I was like, I don't really know you. I'm not really sure about this. John asked me to the law ball, which is like an annual like dance that happens in the law faculty. All my friends were going to law ball with whoever they were going with, and I was like, okay, well, I also want to go, so I end up going to law ball with John. My parents meet John, we have the law ball, and it turns out that like John that night was like interested in like asking me out, and I was like, this is a lot, and I was like, I'm really not sure about this. I tell John like, listen, I'm not comfortable with this right now, maybe like give us some time, you know, this happened all like a bit fast. So I'm like, okay, fine. Fun fact, just thinking about it now is so funny. So John, right, he was like the hugest fan of like Mumford & Sons, and it's funny because I also love Mumford & Sons now. John would like always play like Mumford & Sons when we were in the car, or like when we were chilling together. And one day, I can't believe this is my life. I think we were driving somewhere, I don't know where we were going, and John and I were in the car, and like Mumford & Sons I Will Wait starts playing, and he starts singing me the song. Like he full on like sang me Mumford & Sons I Will Wait, because clearly like I wasn't ready to date him and he was singing me I Will Wait, and I was just like, that was an experience. I actually had someone sing for me. Quite the experience. John was quite the gentleman. He waited for me until I told him like, okay, like I'm more comfortable with this now. Once he asked me out, we had like a very like fast moving relationship. Like everything happened, you know, when they talk about like young love, like that was it. We were just like so engrossed in each other, and I don't know how to explain this, but we were all like like, you know, like, you're the one, and like I'm so sure that you're the one. And it was like, it was very intense, like very quickly. And it actually really, when I think about it now, it never made sense why it was that intense. I rhymed. I rhymed. We were dating for I think like 2 months or something, and then it was like December holidays, and in the December holidays he said that he's going to Durban. Now, if you guys know me, I'm actually from Durban, so it isn't hard for me to just be like, okay, well, I want to go to Durban for December. So I went to Durban for December. So that's where my grandparents live, and I think he fetched me one day. So he actually met my grandparents, actually met my cousins. It was actually just like, I don't even know why all of these things were happening. Then his like dad met my grandparents, and like I met like his dad and his brother, and we had like, I think, pre-Christmas dinner together. It was just I don't even know, man. Like, I wasn't making the best life decisions. I thought I was at the time, but like things were just way too intense. But anyway, fact of the matter is, I met his parents, and I was actually the first girl that he's brought home, and he was the first guy that I brought home. Just to touch on my general feelings when I first entered the relationship with this guy, is that I never actually experienced the things that I did until I was actually in this interracial relationship with someone. I studied at the University of Pretoria, and every time we did something, it would be in Pretoria, and everyone knows that Pretoria is a mostly majorly Afrikaans city, and I can't even explain how I was never ready for the type of looks and the type of treatment I got during this time. And I guess maybe I was naive at the time. I was so young, I didn't realize that people are actually that way. So being on campus, we would literally get stares, and people would like tap their friends, and they would like just stare at us, and like people would even like stop speaking around us. It was the weirdest thing. Like, you would walk around campus and people would just be staring at you. Imagine being on campus every single day and people staring at you every single day, or like giving you dead stares. Or it was the biggest eye-opener for me, because I had never thought that people were like that. Like, I was probably just too naive to just expect that people weren't like that. And it actually extended to us just going out in public together. Like, even if we went for like lunch, there would be people staring, and you could see that people were uncomfortable about the fact that we were an interracial couple. And even just like the general treatment, the way that they would treat him versus the way that they would treat me, it was actually like little microaggressions that were happening. And it was just, I can't even explain, but it made me learn so much about the way society really is, about the way that people might say that like we're a changed country and everything's better now, when it's really not. Because when they like face it and they see it face to face, then they're actually not okay with it. And it was actually just, it wasn't my favorite time, to be honest, because I kind of at one point felt like I had to act like I was okay to prove the point that I'm okay. And it was actually just, it wasn't a good time, because when your eyes are open to the way that people are just genuinely not okay with interracial couples, you actually see that, you know what, like, this is really messed up. People are really, really messed up. And I actually remember like my everyday interactions, being on campus or whenever we went out together, it would just be uncomfortable for me, because I'd be like, people are watching us, people are treating us differently because of this. Like, how am I supposed to live and enjoy my life when people are just doing this? Like, people are just like being these type of cruel people. That was one just big factor for me, was learning how society face value might look like they're okay with things, but at the end of the day, they're not. And that taught me a lot about how to be more thick-skinned and not actually care about what other people think about you. I honestly can't explain how like every single day just being stared at just for like being with someone that you find interesting, and people are like, that's not okay though, and you're like, what do you mean? Like, I'm just walking on campus with this person that I like. How is it not okay? And that for me was like a huge like learning curve, because after like this relationship I stopped paying attention to a lot of the people on campus and a lot of the people just in malls and stuff. And one thing that I actually joke a lot is that I say that I never wear my glasses when I'm out in public because I hate seeing what people look like when they're looking at me. And I feel like it actually stems from this, like this whole thing of like not wanting to see other people stems from this, because at this time was when I first got my glasses and I would literally see what everyone's face looked like when they looked at me. And I still remember like those faces of disgust when they saw us together. And like I think that for me taught me how to stop caring about what other people think about you and what other people think about your actions. And it really taught me how to like move beyond and just think about the people who add value to your life, and those are the people that matter. So let me just finish the story, the other half of the story. So the guy goes on holiday, I think in Jan, and then he comes back from holiday. He tells me no, like he doesn't feel the same way about me anymore, and he broke up with me. And I was broken. It wasn't the worst breakup of my life, but it was the first time that I like experienced heartbreak. And then we ended up like seeing each other on campus again. So eventually we chat and we speak about like what the breakup has been like. He tells me how his family reacted, how his dad reacted, because you know his dad was the one that met me. And I swear to God, I will never in my life forget this. He told his dad about the breakup, and his dad told him, the next person that you bring to our family or to our house cannot be a person like that. Now let's just unpack this. Like, we all know what like that means. It means like this, right? And I was like, so this parent welcomed me into their home and had like Christmas lunch with me and was just so face value, so nice to me, and all they were thinking about this whole time was, I never want my son to bring someone like that home. That was his priority at the time. Not like, my son, are you okay? He was like, never bring someone like that home. So I had to deal with like the fact that society was trash, and then realized that it's everywhere, because my ex's parent that met me, that knew me, was even trash. And I was like, wow, that is just phenomenal. There was one day where we went to his best friend's house, and he actually told me that he doesn't know how his best friend's mom is going to react to me being there, because there are no other people of color that are in that house except for the helper and the gardener. And I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, did you just tell me that your best friend's mom is a racist? What? Like, I can't even explain. I remember, like, I should have known when he told me that. Like, there are just a lot of red lights. But there I was in that situation, and I swear to God, man, if I could have watched Get Out earlier in my life, I swear I would be okay. I would have never faced this relationship. I would have never faced what I faced, because if I watched Get Out, I would have been like, nope, people are gonna kill me. I'm in a damn scene of Get Out. I'm gonna go to the sunken place. When I watched Get Out, I actually felt like I was living that, because I feel like I was in these circles that just didn't find people of color or like any just melanin in your skin. They just weren't okay with it. And I didn't realize. I just didn't get it. I was just so oblivious because I was so into this person. So a lot of lessons were learned from that relationship, because I learned that, first of all, society is just a mess. Society is a shambles, and I just find that at the end of the day, they don't actually bring any value to your life. They don't sit there and pay for your tuition to be going to campus. They don't give you food at the end of the day. They don't sit next to you when you need a shoulder to cry on. They do zero for you. And those type of people are the people that will always feel like they need an opinion on your life, and they will always judge you and say things about you, and they don't actually matter. I learned after this relationship that you just shouldn't care about what society thinks of you. You should just do whatever you want to do, and if society thinks it's good or bad, it doesn't actually matter. Like, if you're happy with whatever you want to do, then just do it. And even though I was happy, I didn't realize the mess that I was getting myself into, but that's okay. Like, I've learned from it, and that's okay. And even if you make messy decisions, if you learn from your decision, then I think that it's okay. A lot of people might not think that, but I think it's okay. Another thing that I will say that you should always stay woke to is never ignore the signs. Never ignore the signs that certain things are actually not okay for you and certain things are not healthy for you. Now, this is something that's rich for me to say because I do this a lot, but I just mean about external factors. So your partner putting you in situations where they know that it's not okay for you to be in, or that you're going to be uncomfortable in the situation for whatever reason, you should never have a partner that puts you through that. You should never subject yourself to someone who puts you in situations where they know it's not good for you and where they know that you won't be okay at the end of the day. Always pay attention to those little things that are happening, because trust me, when you sit back and look at it, you realize that it's actually really messed up that people put you through those things. That is it for my story time for today. It was something that has been on my mind for a while, and it's a story that I always like to tell people because people always tease me about being in interracial relationships. They're always like, oh Akira, like, you are always okay with being in interracial relationships. It's not like I sit there and I'm okay with everything automatically. It's not like I woke up one day and I was like, I don't care what people think about me. Like, there was a lot that happened and people don't know about that typically. And I cared about what people thought about me for a long time until I had to like teach myself to move past it. People also joke and they say like, oh, interracial couples are so cute and interracial babies are so cute. And I'm like, like, I get that, but there's a lot to consider, and sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes, you know, you have a parent that's literally thinking, well, I don't want this person for my son, I don't want this person out my house, but you're sitting there and that person chose you and you're like, oh, okay, what do you do in those situations? So it's not as glamorous as people think it is. Like, it's not like you enter an interracial relationship and you're like, oh yes, gonna get a vlog channel, gonna live my best life. Like, it's really not that easy. And I think people need to stop glamorizing it, because it's not an easy situation to be in. There's a lot of things that people don't actually factor in. There's a bigger picture to consider. I'm gonna stop ranting for today. That's it. I've said my piece. I'm done. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please thumbs up, and please let me know if you want to see any other story times from me, or if you want to see more funny story times, because I guess that you're gonna get a bit tired of my heavy story times. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!